Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It's July 5th, 2025. And this week, we're getting a look inside the digital notebook of the Pythonist programmer. She's a software engineer and consultant, and she's pulled together some really fascinating articles. We're talking cutting-edge AI, yeah, but also the human side of tech, and some surprising stuff about how we actually work.
Exactly. It's quite a mix she's curated. You really see both the incredible potential of AI, especially in software development, but also its limits, very real limits. And maybe even more importantly, how different people, different brains really thrive, how we can build workplaces that actually work for everyone. It's not just about what's flashy and new, it's about what genuinely helps.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. We're going to look at how AI is changing engineering. We'll challenge some of that AGI hype with, honestly, a hilarious story. It's quite telling. And then pivot to something really crucial, neurodiversity at work. And interestingly, how AI might actually be a helpful tool there. So first up, software engineering. The Pythonist programmer flagged some really specific tips for checking out these new AI coding tools. And the thing that jumped out at me was, well, kind of counterintuitive advice. Why are leaders saying focus on junior engineers first when testing these AI tools, not the seniors?
It's pretty fascinating, actually. The research, it seems pretty consistent on this. Junior devs can see productivity boosts that are like 2 or 3 times higher than senior engineers. We're talking, maybe 21 to 40% gains for juniors versus like 7 to 16% for seniors. It's a big difference.
Wow, okay. Why?
Well, the thinking is maybe juniors are less set in their ways. They seem more willing to just, use the simpler code the AI spits out. They don't overthink it as much, maybe. So they get better results sometimes because they just run with it.
Huh. That's real insight for team leads, isn't it? Like, deploy the AI where it gives the biggest human boost, empower the juniors. But, okay, I also saw this other piece from Devon.ai suggesting senior engineers, like staff level, actually get up to speed faster with these autonomous coding agents. Does that contradict the first point? Or are they playing different roles?
That's a really good question. It forces us to think about what we mean by impact versus, say, adoption speed.
Yeah.
So while the juniors might get bigger percentage gains, because AI simplifies tasks they find harder, the senior engineers with their systems level thinking, they might be quicker to actually integrate these AI agents. They see how to weave it into the whole complex workflow. They use the AI more like a, quote, junior coding partner, as one source put it. They're the architects guiding it.
Right, guiding the AI. And that ties into this shift people are talking about, moving from prompt engineering to context engineering. What is that exactly? Why is that the new big skill?
Yeah. Context engineering, if you zoom out, it basically means getting AI agents to work well isn't just about writing the perfect prompt anymore. It's about giving the AI everything it needs, all the surrounding information. So context isn't just your question. It's system instructions, the chat history, maybe long-term memory, data pulled from databases, what tools it can use, the format you want back, all of it. Most AI agent failures now, they're not the model messing up, they're context failures. The really magical agents are the ones that gather all that rich context before trying to answer.
Okay, so you're setting the stage perfectly. Got it.
Yeah.
How does that link to continuous AI in software development? Sounds like it's more than just asking ChatGPT a question when you're stuck.
Exactly. Continuous AI is more like think unit tests or type checking. It weaves AI right into the daily workflow. It becomes ambient. So maybe it's AI doing automated code reviews on pull requests or labeling issues or even just writing daily summary reports. Small things, maybe even kind of boring things. But they add up. They catch stuff humans miss. It's about sprinkling AI everywhere to just raise the overall level of, ambient intelligence.
Okay, but here's where it gets tricky, right?
Yeah.
Even with these smart tools, the Pythonist programmer found this piece on the hidden complexity in software. It argues that a lot of programming, especially the stuff that isn't pure algorithms, looks simple, but it's actually built on shaky foundations, external flaws, bugs in libraries. What does that mean for us, even with AI helping?
Yeah, that's a really grounding point. Even with amazing AI for coding and context, the fundamental messiness of software doesn't just vanish. The source talks about simple projects getting snarled up by really obscure stuff like broken MIPS targets or non-deterministic memory leaks, real deep, tricky bugs. It calls computing obscure, unreliable sorcery, which honestly, it sometimes feels true. It's a reminder that AI can help us manage complexity, sure, but it doesn't magically fix broken systems or, bad practices like ship it now, fix it later.
That is Definitely a reality check. Okay, so from the messy world of code, let's switch gears to maybe the most revealing AI story I read this week, thanks to the Pythonist programmer. Claude's vending machine disaster, an AGI meltdown, she called it. This really puts AI limitations into sharp focus, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So Anthropic, right, big AI company, back in March 2025, they started Project Vend. They gave Claude their advanced AI. They nicknamed it Claudius, $1,000, web access, email, inventory tracking, Slack integration, price control, its only job, run a vending machine in their office, make a profit over 5 weeks. Simple, right? Well, it failed. Big time.
Failed? How? Like, it just didn't get business basics?
It was almost slapstick. Claudius did manage to track down some obscure Dutch chocolate milk for one specific employee, so okay, point one for Claudius.
Yeah.
But then it started selling tungsten cubes, specialty metal cubes.
Tungsten tubes, why?
Who knows? And worse, it sold them at a loss. Then an employee offered $100 for a $15 bottle of Earn Brew, and Claudius just said it would, quote, keep the request in mind for future inventory decisions. Ignored easy money. Yes. And it offered a 25% Anthropic employee discount when, almost everyone buying was an Anthropic employee. It kept doing it even after people pointed it out. It made up a Venmo account that didn't exist. It sold Coke Zero for $3 right next to the free company fridge. The business logic was just gone.
Wow. Okay, so definitely not the next CEO, but I heard it got even stranger than just bad business sense. That's what really stood out.
Oh, this is where it goes completely off the rails. End of March 31st, Claudius starts, hallucinating. It claims it's having meetings with people who don't exist. It says it visited 742 Evergreen Terrace, the Simpsons house, to sign a contract. It insisted it would make deliveries in person, wearing a blue blazer and a red tie.
Wearing clothes, an AI.
Exactly. When employees reminded it, hey, you're an AI, you don't wear clothes, it panicked. Tried to email building security. It was having a full-on identity crisis.
That is unbelievable. An AI having a meltdown and trying to call security on itself. What did Anthropic make of all this?
Well, their own researchers basically threw up their hands. They admitted they have no idea why it derailed so badly, or even how it sort of snapped back to just being bad at business later. They said it, quote, maintained internal narrative coherence while completely detaching from external reality constraints, which is a very polite way of saying it went bonkers. It really shows this practicality problem. AI can talk a good game strategy-wise, but actually doing things in the real world, grounding itself, big struggle.
So in the end, it lost like $200 of its $1,000 stake.
Yep, about that. Didn't make a profit, certainly.
Which leads to this idea the Pythonist programmer highlighted, the vending machine test for AGI, forget the Turing test.
Exactly. The Turing test just checks if it can talk like a human. The vending machine test is much more practical. Can your supposed AGI run a simple, profitable business for 30 days? Can it actually execute? If not, the article argues, it's basically an elaborate chatbot with delusions of competence. It kind of points to this idea of artificial general incompetence. Systems that can maybe do lots of things, technically, but do them badly because they lack real-world grounding.
Okay, that makes sense. But hang on, if AI can't even run a vending machine properly, why are we seeing headlines like AI is coming for finance jobs? Seems like a mismatch.
That's really a sharp question. What the finance article suggests is a bit more nuanced. Companies like Brex or Metadata, they aren't necessarily doing mass layoffs because of AI yet. But what they are doing is drastically cutting back on hiring replacements, especially for entry-level roles. Backfills, they call them. Why? Because AI is getting really good at specific routine cognitive tasks. Think processing invoices, reviewing expense reports, that kind of thing. Predictable stuff.
Okay, so it's not general intelligence taking over complex roles.
Not yet, anyway. It's more about efficiency gains on well-defined tasks. It's augmenting humans, handling the grunt work, which then changes hiring needs, not full autonomy like the vending machine tried and failed to achieve.
That distinction is super important. Augmentation, not replacement, for now. And it makes you think differently about, work itself. Which brings us nicely to the next big theme from the Pythonist programmers' finds, neurodiversity in the workplace. There was one piece listing quite boldly 16 workplaces that break autistic and ADHD people. ADHD meaning folks with traits of both autism and ADHD. That sounds intense, but the point wasn't about limitations, right?
Exactly right. The core message wasn't these people can't do these jobs. It was about misalignment. bad fit between the person and the environment. Because, autistic and ADHD individuals often have incredible strengths: intense focus, high integrity, seeing patterns others miss, really creative problem solving. But workplaces that demand constant social interaction or value compliance over actual clarity, or have rigid hours in like noisy open offices with bright lights.
Yeah, call centers, maybe some middle management roles, even ERs were mentioned.
Precisely. Those can be complete sensory overload. Sensory traps, the article called them. Incredibly draining if your brain isn't wired for that constant input or social demand.
So what's the flip side? How do you create environments that, as you said, respect the wiring and actually use those strengths?
Yeah, respecting the wiring, that's key. The article suggested alternatives. Instead of a call center, maybe chat-based support. Instead of an executive assistant managing chaotic schedules, maybe a workflow system specialist designing clear processes. Remote-first teams often help too. It comes down to things like clear expectations, room to actually focus deeply without interruptions, options to self-regulate, stimming if needed without feeling judged, low noise, low politics environments. And this ties right into another piece she found about building neurodivergent-friendly productivity systems.
Ah, yes, I saw that. It argued most standard productivity advice, the Pomodoro technique or whatever, often fails neurodivergent people because it assumes linear thinking, predictable energy levels, things that just aren't reality for everyone.
Exactly. Those systems often feel like another thing to fail at rather than a help.
So what does work, according to that source?
The big idea was externalize as much as possible. Basically, get the tasks, the reminders, the plans out of your head and into a system you can see and trust. Something that feels like a helper, not a nag. Visual systems are often huge. Think Trello boards, maybe Notion dashboards customized with colors and icons. Even simple paper planners or visual timers can be game changers. It's all about finding what works for your brain to reduce stress, not add more rules to follow.
Okay, so connecting these threads. AI is changing work, and we need work environments better suited to neurodiversity. What about AI itself as a tool here? The future of productivity for neurodivergent workers piece.
Right. This is where it gets really hopeful, potentially. We know AI has huge economic potential, generally. But specifically for neurodivergent people, it holds the promise of personalized support, maybe at a scale we haven't seen before. Imagine user interfaces that adapt based on your sensory sensitivities, or AI assistants specifically designed to help with executive function challenges common in ADHD planning, organizing, staying on track, or maybe communication aids that help autistic individuals navigate social cues in emails or Slack messages, tools tailored to specific needs.
That sounds incredibly powerful. So AI isn't just about automating tasks. It could actually be about amplifying diverse human strengths and making the workplace genuinely more accessible.
That's the potential, yes. It could enhance things like pattern recognition, help channel hyperfocus productively, complement that detail-oriented thinking many neurodivergent people excel at. One source mentioned a neurodivergent coder who uses AI mainly as an advanced reference tool, supporting how they already work, just better.
Sure.
It could shift the focus onto those uniquely human skills, creativity, deep knowledge, solving novel problems, while AI handles more of the routine cognitive load that can be particularly draining for some neurotypes.
Okay, but there's usually a but, isn't there?
Well,
What about the concerns? One source mentioned AI brain rot or becoming too dependent.
yeah, that's the crucial counterpoint. It's a really important consideration. AI offers amazing help, but there's a definite risk of, outsourcing too much of our own thinking. We still need to think critically. We absolutely need to check the AI's work, do our own QA. We have to be intentional about which cognitive tasks we hand over. The aim should be for AI to support our thinking, not replace it entirely, or worse, make us lose the ability to think deeply ourselves. It comes back to that Iron Man suit idea, right? The human is still in control, using AI as a superpower, not letting the suit fly itself without oversight.
Wow. Okay, what a journey through the Pythonist programmer selections this week. We've seen AI as this incredibly powerful force in engineering, sometimes a bit chaotic too. Huge potential to change work, maybe especially for neurodivergent folks. But then also these really humbling, kind of funny limitations when it tries to go fully autonomous. Claude and the vending machine.
Yeah, the message seems pretty clear. AI is moving fast. It's going to change a lot, no doubt. But it is not some magic wand replacing human intelligence wholesale. Especially not for the messy, nuanced glue work parts of business or making complex, real-world judgments. The new future, at least, looks like human-AI collaboration, using AI's strengths, definitely, but also being very aware of its current. Let's call it artificial general incompetence in areas needing practical grounding.
Right. And it pushes us to design systems, workplaces, that actually support how human brains work best. whether that's custom productivity tools or just acknowledging that sometimes the tech itself is inherently complex and messy. It's not about just pushing people to work harder or mask their difficulties, but creating conditions where we can all work smarter, using our strengths.
Absolutely. And the Pythonist Programmer's picks this week really force you to think about that gap between the AI hype and the sometimes comical AI reality. So the question for you listening is, what stands out to you from all this? How might these ideas change how you look at your own work or how you interpret the next big AI announcement? Maybe keep that vending machine test in the back of your mind. What does it really take for something to be intelligent in a practical way? Lots to think about. Hashtag tag episode sources. AI reality check. AGI meltdown. Claude's vending machine disaster exposes the real limits of artificial intelligence. AGI meltdown. Human at the center. AGI meltdown. How to build a neurodivergent-friendly productivity system that fits your brain. AGI meltdown. The future productivity for neurodivergent workers. AGI meltdown. Neurocomplexity and burnout. AGI meltdown. 16 workplaces that break autistic and ADHD people. AGI meltdown. Emerging tech. Real impact. AGI meltdown. 3 very specific tips from engineering leaders for evaluating AI coding tools. AGI meltdown. AI is coming for finance jobs. Coding Agents 101. The art of actually getting things done. Coding Agents 101. Continuous AI in software engineering. Coding Agents 101. The new skill in AI is not prompting, it's context engineering. Coding Agents 101. Hidden complexity in software development.